Hi, everyone. Welcome to another weekly wisdom call. My name is Alexander Hamilton Dunlop, and as always, I'm guiding you to play your cards right. And as you know, if you're following these videos, each week is a new card to play. There are 52 cards in the deck. There are 52 weeks in the year. Each week is represented by a symbolic pattern on this deck of playing cards, which is actually an ancient book of wisdom that was hidden in plain sight. I wrote all about it. If you want to read about it, this is my book, Play Your Cards Right, a sacred guide to life on Earth. So you can read about the history and the background of the deck of playing cards, and then you can look up all 13 of your own cards so you can find out your life path. And so you can see very clearly what your challenges are, how to overcome them, what your life lessons are, and what rewards you can expect in life for playing your cards right. You can read about it all in here in my book. So I want to talk to you, as I do on these calls, about the meaning of the week. Because, as I said, each week has a card to play, and in each week there is an energy that's present. And this week, the energy that's present is symbolized by the 10 of clubs. So that's like the underlying energy that's in the field all around us globally, and it's present for everyone. All right. We have our personal cards to play in our life path, but then there are cards that we all move through. And so this is like moving through the weather. This is the weather report. You want to think of it this way. These weekly wisdom calls, it's like your weekly spiritual weather report, to see what is in the field, what's present, so that you can understand what's present for you this week and choose to activate it in an uplifting and positive and healthy way. You can't change what the energy is, just like you can't change what your cards are, but you can change how you play them. And that makes all the difference. Last week, we were all playing the 9 of clubs. That was the energy in play last week from Sunday to Saturday until, what's the date today? June 4th, so up until June 2nd. That was the energy of the week. And with the 9 of clubs energy present, I can, predict that you would have had some moments where you would have been asked to shift your thinking to a much higher level, to go to a higher level of thinking, shift the paradigm. And that could have seemed tragic. It could have even been confrontational or argumentative as you were trying to shift your whole way of thinking and seeing, right? How do you perceive your reality? So the 9 of clubs could have had some dramatic verbal confrontations, some dramatic exchanges, maybe even felt tragic to you, or you were at a loss for words because you were bringing your words to a higher level. You were thinking to a higher level. That's what happened last week, is a paradigm shift in the way that we operate in our world. Now this week, with the 10 of clubs present, what's in store for us is an abundance of mental power, meaning we can get a lot done this week, but it also might mean we have a lot on our minds. You have abundant mental power. The number 10 is the number of abundance, and clubs is the suit of the mind. So too much of a good thing can be wonderful, or too much of a good thing can be just too much. You might have too much on your mind this week, a lot of great ideas, but then you might feel scattered. You might try to do too much with all your good ideas this week. You might have your to-do list, and then you have another to-do list about your to-do list, and just too many tasks that you're trying to accomplish. So you want to be aware of overheating your brain this week. You want to make sure that you do things to relax and calm your mind. It's very important for you this week. And to do things that get you out of your head. If that's going for a walk, or going to the gym, maybe good sex, anything to get your thoughts out of your head and move that energy into your body, because you may overheat your brain this week trying to think and analyze too much. And so you may get headaches, you may have insomnia, you may just get stressed and anxious, and you might take that out, unfortunately, on your loved ones, right? As you're overanalyzing every word, trying to nitpick the meaning and dissecting, what does that word mean? Or what did he say? What did he mean when he said that? Or what did she mean when she said that? We can get in our heads this week overanalyzing. So you want to be aware that you may overanalyze things this week. Getting stuck in your head, running around looking for answers inside your mind. And again, you will overheat your brain if you do that. So what's very important this week is that you make space. It's very important that you make space for yourself so that you don't overextend and overcommit and try to do too much. So one of the keys for this week, for you to play your cards right, is to make space. So that means give yourself me time. Say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no, right? Be really clear as best as you can so that you don't overcommit or overextend, but you have really clear boundaries so you can mark out your space very clearly. Well, I can do that, but I can't do that. Or I could go to that event, but I can't go to that event. You want to have very clear boundaries so that you have very clear space so that you're not running around and churning and overdoing it, because that's what could happen this week. Trying to do too much, trying to fit it all in. So you want to be aware of what's underneath that is that you may think, again, thinking, you may think that you have to do it all. You may think it's necessary. Like, if I don't do that, I'll be lazy, or if I don't do that, I'll disappoint so-and-so, or if I don't do that, I won't advance my career, or if I don't do that, then this person won't think well of me, or etc., etc. We have all these thoughts of insecurities that drive us to do too much, to overextend ourselves, to overanalyze and overthink it. So again, the key is to make space. And make space to breathe, make space to be present with ourselves, make enough space in our calendar so that we can actually do the things we want to do, and we're not crowding out our actual desires with too many other things. So being aware that you don't crowd yourself too much this week, that's also very important. Make enough space so you can actually accomplish what you want to accomplish. So what we're talking about the energy of the 10 of clubs, which is the energy that's present in the field this week. And if you notice in the symbolism, I have an actual deck here, not what I usually have here. Let's do this. There we are. There's the symbolism on the 10 of clubs. It's a double X, if you can see that. It's a double, an X. It's hard to show. There's an X and then another X. It's a double X is the symbolism. There, if you can see that, these two X's, there's the symbolic pattern on the card. Symbolism is very important, and it reveals to us something really important about the 10 of clubs, which is we may accidentally double cross ourselves from overthinking and overdoing it, trying to be overcommitting. You may inadvertently flake out because you double booked your calendar. So you want to, again, avoid double crossing yourself this week. Right? Avoid double crossing others, getting things mixed up, trying to over plan it. It's important that you make space, and that means trusting and relaxing how things are going to fall into place. Don't over plan. Don't make a plan and then try to remake the plan, because you might double cross yourself. So you want to imagine right now, think about what it is you want to accomplish this week, or what events you have, what plans you have, and breathe into enough space, or making space in your mind for your plans to be a success. Because that's how they actually will be a success. you will thwart yourself and get your mind tied up in knots, and then actually even double cross yourself if you overanalyze and overplan. So just thinking about what it is you want to accomplish this week, thinking about how can I make space for this to be accomplished. As a little doggy jumps up behind me on the bed. We're staying with friends out in the Hamptons, so I'm shooting this video from West Hampton. I've got a little doggy on the bed behind me. It's an enlightened dog, this one. Tends to show up in the right moments. So you know this is an important message when the little doggy shows up. Here, let me see if I can put him in the frame. There he is. Little doggy. So very important that you don't overplan, overanalyze, or overcommit so that you double cross yourself. The way you find success this week is saying yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. And how you know when to say yes or no is by listening to your own intuition. This can be a challenge for you this week because your mind might seem extra busy. It might have a lot on your mind. So that's why it's very important this week that you make space. Give yourself enough space to receive your inner guidance, your intuitive knowing, so that you know what's right for you. I want to do this, I don't want to do that. So you can say yes when you mean yes, and no when you mean no. It's very important whenever we're facing the 10 of clubs. So otherwise we'll end up chasing around the answers inside our head, and we get lost in the maze of our own minds. So key to play it well, make enough space, consciously make space, and listen to your inner guidance in that open space, and then say yes when you mean yes and no when you mean no. That's my guidance for you this week. You can get a lot done in a 10 of clubs week. Just being clear. And then the paradox is you get more done when you have more space. You don't get more done by trying to overachieve and overextend and overcommit. Then you only end up double crossing yourself. So this is beautiful paradox this week of you get more done when you give yourself more space. So in a way, it's really like by trying to do less, you'll actually do more. It's very Taoist in that way. Less doing equals more success at what you want to do. Right? The unforced force, this idea of wu-wei-wu. I don't know if I said that right, by the way. Don't use my pronunciation of that expression, but it translates as the unforced force. And that's very important energy that we want to tune into this week. So we're not forcing things. We want to make space. Look at the center of the symbolism of the 10 of clubs. There's a space in the center of the 10 pips. And that's the space we want to focus on. We want to focus on holding the space. And then from that space comes the energy that will accomplish everything we want. We'll get the insights, we'll get the information, we'll get the guidance, and we will accomplish whatever we want to accomplish because we've held the space. It's very like a Tai Chi Taoist, holding that space and then allowing the energy to come through. So this is what I invite you into this week, is holding space for the energy to flow. So you may have a fun week with that. It could be a great week for a party, for example. Making space and holding the space. So enjoy your week, enjoy being social, enjoy getting things done, enjoy the abundance of good thoughts that you have. Just remember to make space for yourself. Clear the space consciously so that you can quiet your mind and listen to your own inner guidance to give you clear direction. All right, so let me write that down as an affirmation. I make space in my day to, maybe just this, I make space in my mind to hear my own thoughts. How about that? How about them apples? I make space in my mind to hear my own thoughts. Take a deep breath, and you can say, I make space in my mind to hear my own thoughts. And you say it again. I make space in my mind to hear my own thoughts. I make space in my mind to hear my own thoughts. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful week playing your cards right. And I'll talk to you next week. Enjoy your week of making enough space to bring the energy forth that you want in your life. The more space, the more success. All right. Enjoy.